what was it, Christina? We had, it was, I was chairman and who, it was, Andrea was the,
I think just
co-chair, correct?
vice chair. Yeah.
Vice chair, yeah, vice chair. Um, do, what do people have thoughts? Do they have any questions? Um, you want me to be chair again? Do you want me to be vice chair? If one of you guys want to do it, does it matter to you?
Well, Chris, you
I
do
would
have a
stay
lot of,
flexible.
yeah, you have a
Huh?
lot of experience with running these meetings.
Yeah,
But also if you don't want to have to be the point person on things, I think any of us could, um, try and refer to you if we need to. So it's up to you what your,
well,
you know,
I'll continue chairing. I don't have a problem with that. I think Christina's been around, and I think you would be good as a vice chair because you understand it, Christina. And you'll see as we go along here, um, we always cover one another. We have always questions, or we always have, we try to work together, and we hear from other people outside where we try to bring questions and try to answer them or research them and do something. Um, so does anybody have any thoughts or anything else they would like to talk about? No? Okay.
Okay.
Um, if that's oh, and then we have to have a secretary too. So that's right. Wasn't there a secretary? Who did that last time, Christina?
we had switched, or we had alternating secretaries where everybody took a turn taking
Yeah,
notes for the meeting until Jerry graciously took over.
correct.
Um, so
And and I think we've been, since we're on recorded here, is Allison still on? No. But I guess she takes the minutes now, and she'll be able to do the minutes. And if she had a question, she can always refer back to one of us, if she has any questions. Um, and
mhm.
I think she said she was agreeable if it did it that way. Um,
That was
I think that
great.
works that way. I think it worked pretty well, matter of fact. Jerry Shaw, you know, Jerry was pretty good on the rules and how we could add things and subtract. We learned a lot from Jerry. Jerry was very knowledgeable. And I'm sure Allison would help us along too, as if we have questions down the line, she can help us, clear them up and make decisions of what we need to do. Um, well, do we want to take I guess we have to vote on this of being a chairman, vice chair, and then we could say, if we need to have a secretary, we can do it on an alternating basis. Is everyone good with that? Good. Okay, so all those in favor, we have to say aye. Aye, or raise your hand and say aye. Okay, we're all good. Okay. So we're gonna have me, Chris Sorensen will be chair, Christine will be the vice chair, and then if we need a secretary, we'll alternate on the secretary. So I guess we can move on the agenda. And the third thing was the review and approval of the newsletter intro. I read some feedback, and there was one was with Town Line Farm. It's one word instead of two words. And I think that's the only thing if anybody else had anything else, but I think that was one of the only really things that we had to change in the newsletter. I think it looks good. I appreciate everything, you guys putting that together, and we can move that forward.
I think so.
And
Do we need
yeah,
to do anything to get it into the newsletter, or does Allison just make that
Jerry used to get it in for us. We can ask Allison tomorrow. I could call Allison and ask her if she could get it into they do like a Woodbridge, like what's going on in town and stuff, and we can get that into the newsprint of what's going on. And if she had any questions, I think she could refer back to us and say, well, we're doing it this time or that time. And I think that's important. Every year we've been able to update it or you know, every so many months, if something comes up, we add to it, or, you know, put a new paragraph in, or like, we can talk about some of the new members, you know, next time, you know, we'll talk about some of the new members that we've brought into the commission, and we could tell them how it's doing. And we could do that probably in the fall. You know, maybe that's a good thing. We could start in the fall. We could talk about how the year was, that things went. So these are some of the questions that came up, and this is what we were looking to accomplish this, you know, coming year when we start, you know, after we have our last meeting will be in April, and then we start again in October. So I'll talk to Allison tomorrow, and I'll just update her on the newsletter and ask her if she can get it into the next edition. Did Allison see it? Do you know if Allison saw it or not? Does anybody know? The newsletter?
I don't know.
Okay.
I can ask her, or maybe if you want to ask her about when it's going, when she can put it in, maybe you can check in with her as well on that
Okay.
and pass it on to her.
I'll do that, Rob, and I'll call her tomorrow and I'll speak to her and see what she has to say. Okay.
Sounds good.
If everyone's in favor of that, I make a motion that we approve the letter and we have Allison get it submitted into the town so we can she can, you know, advertise it for us. Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye. Right.
Okay, that's good. Discussion on the town lease extensions. I haven't talked to anybody about town lease extensions. It's always been a year. We've always asked, you know, we tried to push for 5 years. I mean, there's some new personnel in there. I think there's some new people in there that might look at it in a different way and maybe give us an opportunity to, you know, increase what we have now.
Yeah.
I think the hardest part is when you're only leased for 1 year, you can't really do a lot of improvements to a property and spend a lot of money, because if you're not guaranteed you're going to get it the following year, you know, that's money down the drain, you know, and you have to look at it like, you know, if I want to upgrade the property, I need some longevity. And I think the town council, the previous town council, was pretty adamant he wasn't gonna extend it out. I don't know, maybe there'll be some new council, some new ideas, but that's
Yeah.
something maybe we can talk about. I don't know, Christina, I don't know if you've talked to anybody about anything.
Yeah, I think I can't remember if it was Andrea or Steve or both. But I think I had talked to one or both of them about, you know, wanting to update our new ag commission folks about this, and also keep that on our as a working point, because I think it's an important one, as you said. We briefly touched on it in the last meeting, and so I pulled up a couple of the things that I remembered, I just didn't have in front of me at the last meeting. One is we had presented this, as Chris just said, to the previous Board of Selectmen,
Yeah.
and I have a text from that Jerry Shaw sent, which were Beth Heller's remarks at the May 11th, 2022 meeting. These are in, you know, in the meeting notes for the following Ag Commission meeting. So they're in our record, but just so that folks don't have to look them up. The text reads like this: regarding the Agricultural Commission's continued request to the Board of Selectmen to approve 5-year leases on town-owned fields that are currently leased on a yearly basis, Beth says, having a 5-year lease would allow farmers to apply for farming state grants. I believe it is impractical to tie up town land for 5 years. We tried to add protection for the town in the draft of a 5-year lease, stating that we would grant a 5-year lease, but the town could at any time revoke the lease if for some reason the town needed the land. That language was unacceptable to the state. I asked our BOS liaison, Paul, how do you say Kyriakosi? Is that it?
I think that's it. Yeah.
To ask the Agricultural Commission to research other towns in Connecticut, how other towns in Connecticut handle this, so that hopefully we can somehow help the farmers and also protect the town in case of an extraordinary situation, or we would need the land. Again, 5-year leases would eliminate the town's flexibility to deal with publicly owned property. In addition, Attorney Weiner advised that not only does the state require a 5-year unconditional lease, they may also require an additional 5-year option, which would tie up the property for 10 years. I don't think that that is actually a requirement that it does.
If you
Or
say
that
it's a
most state
requirement,
programs.
sorry, Christina, I've maybe lost the thread a little bit there, but that it's a requirement in order to receive state grants?
He says that the state may require that, but from the DOAG grants that I've looked into, I do not see that as a requirement. So I feel like a theoretical requirement is not a real requirement. If we were to report this to the Board of Selectmen, I would just want to be clear about maybe some examples of cases where it is not requiring a 10-year lease, but a 5-year lease. And then also they had pointed out a section of the town charter. So in the town charter, subsection 4-8, purchase and sale of real property, there is something about action for purchase or sale of real estate by the town. And section B says, any lease for a period in excess of 1 year shall be considered a sale, conveyance, purchase, or other acquisition of real property within the meaning of this section. I don't know at all how the town charter is revised, but I just don't understand why a lease of more than 1 year would be considered a sale. What was that,
That's
Robin?
a good question. That's a very good question.
I don't think any farmers are looking to buy the property, just continue to use it. And Chris, how long have you leased your land?
Down at the Litchfield Turnpike, I would say probably it's close to maybe 18 years, maybe 18, 19 years now.
Yeah.
And that's a historical piece, you know. They're not going to be putting anything up there. You know, the Boy Scouts have stuff up in the back there.
Mhm.
But you know, that's part of the Thomas Darling, you know, the whole property there and everything. And I can't see the town going to go build something there like ball fields or anything like that. And you know, I could go in and do a lot more work there and try to do some other things there, but you can't really do that until you know that you have some security that, you know, if I do go put up fencing or I go doing stuff like that, cost a lot of money to do that. And,
Mhm.
you know, you need to get a return out of it in order to make it worth your while. So, you know, you do what you can out of the property and make it work the best of your ability at the time, you know, for what, you know, what type of investment you can put in there. You know, Christina, you've been at your house now how many years? 5 years, maybe?
7 this
7
July.
years already. Wow.
Yeah.
And you know, you know, they always say nothing stays forever, but in this town, it seems like a lot of things stay the way they are for a long period of time. I was chairman of the Public Works Building Committee, for an example,
Mhm.
and I don't know how many years it took us before we could even get the building going and get it completed. I bet you it took us between 8 and 10 years. So, I mean, the people in town, they always have the vote, you know, they're the ones who get to vote on the last thing, but people like they're very set in their ways here, and it's very hard to, you know, change things. Jerry used to say that, I think it was like when they have the town meeting, and usually what's that in May, I think it is, isn't it? Or yeah, something, I believe, I don't know quite when it is, but Jerry would say that's the time we can change stuff in the charter
Yeah.
if they want to change stuff. I think it was May. Um, and so that's something I think what we have to think about. This May might be a little quick, but I think we can lead up to next year in May, and hopefully maybe when they had the meeting, the town meeting, we can change something in the charter that would help give us some kind of grant, or, give us some type of leeway where, and we can talk about this at all our meetings of how we can make things happen. And so it works for both the town and us. You know, I think if the town wanted to use a piece of property, they always give you, like Christina, we had talked at one time behind your house, and I don't know if you knew this, when we were building the public works and stuff, we talked about putting maybe the public works and everything down behind your
Oh,
house there at one time.
I've heard about the ball fields, but not that, and a
Yeah,
dog park.
we
But
discussed it. That was part of one of our
Mhm.
discussions. Let me tell you, that didn't go over real big. I mean, because we were talking about we didn't have enough property in the back, and they had the big dig, and
Oh.
then we had talked about, well, maybe we'll bring it over to Acorn Hill, but that was too far away. It was too remote over there on the other side of town.
Mhm.
We needed something centrally located, and those. So that's why I'm saying, with something with the 5-year lease, it's going to take a little time. We made progress this past year. Yeah, I think it was this past year, on able to add different products to your farm stands and stuff from, Connecticut grown stuff and stuff like that, and it made it more accessible for us. So I think this is another thing where we just got to work at it, keep following up, talk to some of our selectmen. I see Mika every once in a while. We have good discussion. And so we just keep it fresh in their mind. And, maybe by next May, we can maybe hopefully get a shot at it, and let's see what can happen. So that was one of my thoughts on trying to make that keep moving forward. We have a couple members there that were part of our commission. And they're big advocates as well for us. So I think we're moving in the right direction. Um,
Mhm.
so
Yeah, while we
um,
have them in there, we should at least have it come before the board again,
oh,
for
I
them to
agree with you
discuss.
100%, Christina. Uh,
Yeah.
so um, so I'll keep working at that. Meanwhile, I'm gonna speak with Mika over the next week or so and just see what he has. So we'll bring this up at the next meeting, and I can have some feedback from Mika, as well as, I'll even talk to Steve and Andrea and see where they're at and see what some of the other members are at. So I'll feel them out. And if you guys get any, feedback, or you hear from anybody, feel free to, say something, and we can discuss it at the next meeting. Does anybody else have anything else they would like to say? I guess we're good. So we're gonna move on. And then it says, the last one, it says promoting Woodbridge Farms for 2024 season. I think that's really important, because I think, for the people and everything, to keep things local, people are really good about it. But I don't know how we want to go about promoting it. Does anybody have some ideas of what do you think we should do? I mean, I think the newsletter is really good. Should we promote that in the newsletter, maybe the following newsletter, because I guess it's a monthly basis, that when the farms are opening up for, like, for the summer, maybe we should talk about, you know, what type of year, when are you open from, just to give people an idea of, like, when you're opening, when you're, how your hours are. Are you open Monday through Sunday? Are you open just, open on weekends, and give some hours and stuff. I think that would be a really positive thing so that people can look at and say, oh yeah, um, Town Line Farm, yeah, when they did the hay maze and stuff, people want to know, is it open every day? Was it open, all these different, and just sort of try to give them a tentative schedule of when people want to be open. I know, like, with our farm stand, usually we start the last weekend in June, and we run through October. And we're open 7 days a week, and we're from 10 to 6. So that's what I would, say, and this is what we offer, and, people do Snapchat, I mean, there's so many social media things now. It's like, wow, it's overwhelming sometimes. But I think, maybe at our next meeting, we can think about the times and everything, and then we can put those in of some of the farms and what they got for the upcoming season. If people are good with that, if that works with them, you guys.
I think that's a really nice idea, just to have it be a pretty accessible way to remind people that there are these
Yeah.
places in the community. I guess maybe if anybody knows of any, like if there are any small farms or anything that should be included in this that we don't necessarily know about as having like a set schedule or whatever, a retail
Yeah.
presence, to add them. I was also looking back at the Chris, do you remember the brochure, and have Rachel or Robin, have you seen there was a what is it called? Retail trail and agriculture brochure, and it
Yes. I do.
said Woodbridge, Connecticut, and it had maps of the trails and like some of the stores and farms and stuff. But it was printed, so I don't know if Townline, I don't know if you're on this because it might have been before you.
Where this is only our 4th season being open and 3rd season with the farm stand, so
Yeah, it doesn't say when this was
I don't
published.
remember ever seeing that or being approached by it.
Okay, well, it says that the brochure was made by the Woodbridge Economic Development Commission. And I kind of wonder if they have any plans to make an editable digital version of this, because right now you can go on the town's website and get like the PDF version, but I wonder if they would consider having a map where they could add either new businesses or new farms, because there has been, some pretty significant changes,
Yeah.
um, with that. So maybe I can reach out to someone or Chris, do you know anybody in the EDC?
Not offhand. I think Allison could help us out with that. Maybe
Okay,
Christina, if you could give her a call, find out, and then maybe
yeah.
if you reach out to one of them and just ask, do they plan to do anything? You know what I mean? To promote it a little more, or if we want to add something or subtract something, what do we need to do?
Yeah,
I
and
think
I
that's a
liked your
great idea.
idea of the newsletter too, just so that it's, really in people's inbox,
Yeah.
um,
And
with
the other
some of
thing
that
I'm
info.
thinking about, you talk about promoting Woodbridge Farms. Um, we also got the community gardens,
Mhm.
and I think maybe that's something down the line for our next meeting. Maybe we can talk about people, how they get access to a community garden, and how they, if they wanted a plot of land, what do they can do, and the things that they grow and things like that. I think that some people might want to be able to grow a garden or do something like that, but they don't have the land or the space. And I think that's just something for the community. I think we should open it up so they have a little more information about it. So
Mhm.
I'm gonna add that to the next agenda if people are okay with that.
Yeah, I
Um,
think that's a great idea.
so those are some of the things I've been thinking about. Um, and if along the line, if anybody thinks of something we want to add to it, give Allison a call so we can add it to our agenda, and then we can talk about it. And if we have some information, Allison could email us the information, or give us a set thing of, this is what's going on or that's going on. So um, I think we have some good things for looking forward to. I think we're all getting ready. I got a busy year coming up. So we have one more meeting going to be in April, And so I think we have a couple of good things to start off April, and then we can move forward from that. Does anybody have any other questions or anything else they wish to discuss tonight?
Nope.
No?
Good.
Everybody good? I'm gonna
Yeah.
make a motion. I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn.
I
Do I have a
second.
second? That Christina will second it. We'll see you in a month. And Christina, you'll talk to Allison about the economic, and I'll do some talking with Mika and a few of the selectmen on some of the other things we talked about. And some of us like Rachel and stuff. If maybe you can get some hours for Town Line, what you think going to be coming up this year.
Yep.
We can get some of those. We can get that listed up and find out. Robin, if you know of anybody or something you want to get some hours or something, yeah, we'll give it to Allison and we'll get it all put together. Okay? Well, thank you, everyone. I appreciate it. And thank you for giving me the vote of confidence. I won't let you down, I promise. Okay? All right.
All right.
Good night,
Have a good night,
Thank you.
everybody.
Good
All
night.
right.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.